Welcome back to the deep dive. So, I want you to start with a picture in your mind, a mental picture, really, that we're pulling from our source material.
All right.
It's the legal perimeter from, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. You remember it, right?
Oh, yeah. Heavy oak doors.
Heavy oak doors, a receptionist you had to get buzzed past, filing cabinets that needed an actual physical key.
You could feel the security. It was tangible. If you wanted a secret back then, you didn't need a computer science degree.
No, you needed a crowbar.
Right. But as the source points out, that world is gone.
Completely gone. The perimeter today, it isn't oak. It's digital. It's invisible. And it's under constant automated assault from literally everywhere, 2047.
And that's where the anxiety comes from, because a lot of law firms in, 2026 are still mentally relying on that oak door.
Right.
But what they're actually using in the digital space, it's the equivalent of a screen door.
That is exactly what we are fixing today. We are doing a deep dive into fortifying the legal perimeter. We're going to strip away the tech speak around firewalls and gateway security.
Yeah, to figure out what actually works.
I want to be clear, this isn't just an IT chat about blinking lights.
No, not at all. This is about the ethical survival of the firm. Because if you lose client data, it's not just a technical failure. You've potentially violated ABA model rules. You've lost client trust.
The one thing you can't get back.
The only thing that matters.
So let's talk about the target. I think most people assume hackers go after banks. That's where the money is.
That's the common wisdom.
But the research we're looking at today suggests law firms might be an even better target. Why?
It comes down to a word, really, leverage. Sure, banks have money, but they also have massive military-grade security budgets. They're hard targets.
Okay.
Law firms, on the other hand, are what the source calls data gold mines.
Data gold mines. Break that down for us. What's sitting on a partner's laptop that's worth more than a wire transfer?
Information. Leverageable information. So think about high-stakes litigation strategy.
Okay.
If I'm a hacker and I steal your internal memos about a weak point in your defense, I can sell that to the other side.
Oh, wow.
Or, more likely, I just use it to extort the firm for a massive ransom. Pay us, or we send this to opposing counsel.
That is terrifying.
And it gets worse. Think about M&A. Mergers and acquisitions.
Right.
If a hacker knows Company A is buying Company B 3 days before it's public, that's insider trading gold. That info is worth millions.
So the law firm is just the vault holding everyone else's secrets.
Precisely.
Huh.
And this leads to what the text calls the mid-tier vulnerability.
Mid-tier vulnerability.
You have a firm holding the same secrets as a huge investment bank, but they're protecting it with a mid-tier security budget, a small IT team. It's an arbitrage opportunity for criminals.
Why rob the bank when you can rob the lawyer who has the keys to the bank? That makes that ABA cybersecurity stat just, it's chilling. Nearly 29% of law firms have experienced a breach. That's almost 1 in 3.
And remember, those are just the ones who knew about it, or the ones who admitted it. The scariest breach is the one you don't find for 6 months.
Okay, so the threat is real. The stakes are your license to practice. Let's get into the solution. The source focuses heavily on the next generation firewall, or NGFW.
Right.
Now, firewall is a term everyone knows, is the firewall on. But the test uses that analogy, a screen door versus a battering ram. What was the screen door?
The screen door is the traditional firewall, and you'd be surprised how many firms are still running them. It works by basically looking at the return address on an envelope.
It doesn't open the envelope.
No, it's not supposed to.
Right.
It just looks at the label. If the envelope says it's from a trusted address, like a client, it lets it in.
I see the flaw immediately. I can write whatever I want on the return address.
Exactly. Hackers are great at spoofing addresses. So the traffic looks safe to the guard, but inside the envelope, there's a bomb.
And that's where the next generation firewall comes in.
Right. The key difference here, and this is the term you need to know, is deep packet inspection, DPI.
TPI. So what does it do?
It means the firewall rips the envelope open, it looks at the payloads, the actual content of the data packet, and analyzes the code inside for malware, for ransomware, whatever.
That sounds like it would take a ton of processing power. Wouldn't that just slow the whole network to a crawl?
That's a great question. And 10 years ago, you'd be right. It was a trade-off. Security meant slowness.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Modern hardware does this in near real time.
Yeah.
So even if the traffic is coming through a legitimate door, legitimate port, the NGFW can spot the weapon inside.
The source also brings up IPS intrusion prevention systems. Is that part of it?
It's the active enforcement arm. The inspection finds the problem, the IPS kills it, but it's smarter than just looking for viruses. It looks for behavior.
What kind of behavior?
Things like SQL injections or brute force attacks. If the system sees one IP address trying to guess a password 500 times in 1 second.
It knows that's not a person.
Exactly. The IPS recognizes that pattern as an attack and just slams the door shut automatically. No human has to do a thing.
Which is critical. And there's another feature here that I found really interesting, application awareness.
This is one of the biggest leaps forward. Older firewalls just saw web traffic. Everything looked the same.
Right.
An NGFW knows the difference between an associate browsing LinkedIn and that same associate using, say, BitTorrent.
Okay, but can it get more granular? Like, can it tell the difference between looking at Dropbox and uploading to Dropbox?
That is the crucial distinction. Yes, a firm might want to let people view documents on a cloud site for a case. That's legitimate work.
Sure.
But you might want to absolutely forbid them from uploading your internal case files to a personal Google Drive. Application awareness lets you set that policy. Download, yes. Upload, no.
That's incredible. It's controlling the intent, not just the connection. Okay, let's move to upgrade number 2. The source calls this one the quick win, geo-blocking.
Yes. The concept is simple. You block traffic based on its country of origin.
It makes sense. If you don't have clients in Russia, why accept traffic from Russia? The source claims this can eliminate up to 60% of automated bot attacks.
And it does. It's a huge number.
But here's my question. Law is global. What if a partner is at a conference in Eastern Europe and the firm has blocked that whole region? Are they just locked out?
If it's set up crudely, then yes, they are. And that's where the fight starts between IT and the partners. The partner calls up screaming, so IT just turns off the security feature.
Of course. Security is preventing me from billing. That's the sentence that kills every protocol.
Right. So the smart way to do this in 2026 is deny by default, but with specific exceptions. The firewall sees traffic from Vietnam. It blocks it unless that traffic is coming through the firm's encrypted VPN with a valid multi-factor code.
So it blocks the random noise, but it allows the verified person.
Exactly. Because that 60% number is real. Most attacks aren't some guy in a hoodie targeting your firm. They're bots scanning the whole internet. Geo-blocking basically takes your house off their map.
Makes sense. Clear the noise to focus on real threats. Okay, upgrade 3. Killing the zombies. I'm guessing we're not talking about The Walking Dead.
No, we're talking about legacy protocols. These are old languages computers used to talk to each other. Some were written 30 years ago.
And they're just lurking on the network. Why are they still there?
Fear. It's the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. Maybe there's an old printer on the 4th floor that only speaks that old language. IT is afraid if they disable it, things will break.
But the source is pretty clear. Keeping them is a massive liability. It specifically calls out TLS 1.0 and 1.1.
Right. TLS, that's the encryption that protects your data online. It's the little padlock in your browser.
Okay.
Versions 1.0 and 1.1 are full of holes. Modern computers can crack that old encryption pretty easily now.
So it's like sending data in a convertible instead of an armored car.
Perfect analogy. You have to configure your gateway to only accept TLS at 1.2 or 1.3. If someone tries to connect with an old system, the firewall just says, nope, come back when you're safe.
Then there's SMB v1. The text links this one directly to WannaCry.
That's the big one. It's a file sharing protocol. It was the main way the WannaCry ransomware spread around the world, taking down hospitals, banks, everything.
And it's still out there.
It's often on by default in older systems. The takeaway here is non-negotiable. Audit your network. If SMB v1 is on, turn it off. If a printer stops working, buy a new printer. A $500 printer is a lot cheaper than a $5 million breach.
No kidding. Okay, let's talk about the gateway itself. We're all working remotely now. For years, the answer has been the VPN. But the source calls a standard VPN a double-edged sword. Why?
Because of its architecture. Think of a VPN like a moat around a castle, and the VPN software is the drawbridge.
Okay.
Once you cross that drawbridge, you're inside the walls. You can pretty much go anywhere. The kitchen, the armory, the throne room.
Meaning, once I'm on the VPN, I have access to the whole network.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
And that's the risk. If a hacker steals your password, they cross the drawbridge. Now they are inside, and they can move from the email server to the file server to the billing system.
So how do we fix that? I mean, the text was practically shouting MFA, multi-factor authentication.
MFA is the baseline. It's non-negotiable. I don't care if it's inconvenient. You need that second factor, that code on your phone. Even if the hacker has your password, the drawbridge stays up without that code.
But the source points to an evolution beyond the VPN, something called ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access.
Yes.
I love the name, Zero Trust. It sounds so paranoid.
It's prudent paranoia. The philosophy is simple. Never trust, always verify.
So how is ZTNA different from a VPN?
Okay, back to the castle analogy. A VPN gets you into the courtyard. ZTNA is like a modern hotel key card.
Oh.
When you swipe your card, it doesn't open every door in the hotel. It only opens your floor and your room.
I see. So it connects you to a specific application, not the whole network.
Exactly. If you need the document management system, ZTNA verifies who you are. It checks if your device is secure. And only then does it create a microtunnel just to that one system. You can't see the HR server. You can't see the finance database. You're siloed.
So if a hacker does get an associate's credentials, they don't get the keys to the kingdom.
They get one room. It minimizes the blast radius of a breach. And frankly, for law firms, ZTNA is becoming the new standard of care.
That phrase, standard of care, is the perfect transition to our final section, the human element, ethics.
Right.
We can have all this great tech, but we have to watch it. The source talks about the black box.
It's talking about logging. Your firewall sees millions of events a day. If you aren't logging that data, you're flying blind. But the problem is volume. No human can read a million log entries.
So we need a machine to watch the machine.
Exactly. Enter SIEM security information and event management. And this is where AI is actually useful, not just hype. It spots the low and slow attacks.
Slow and slow. What's that?
A hacker tries to guess a password 100 times a minute. Any firewall will block that. It's too loud.
Right.
So smart hackers try once, wait an hour, then try again. They blend in with the noise.
Like a burglar just trying the door handle once, then walking away to come back later.
Precisely. A human analyst will never see that pattern over weeks, but an AI connected to a SOM sees it immediately. It flags the IP and says, this person has been picking the lock once an hour for 3 days.
That's incredible. It connects dots we can't see. And this brings us right back to ethics, ABA Model Rule 1.6c.
The duty to make reasonable efforts.
That word reasonable is doing a lot of work there.
It's the million-dollar legal term. But look, reasonable is a moving target. In 2010, having a basic firewall was reasonable.
And today, in 2026.
If you're using a firewall that can't do deep packet inspection or you don't have MFA, a strong argument could be made that you are not making reasonable efforts, that you are being negligent.
Wow, so tech debt isn't just an annoyance anymore. It's a potential malpractice suit.
It absolutely is.
Okay, to help everyone listening, the source has an audit checklist. I want to run through it. As you listen, check these off for your firm.
Let's do it.
Number 1, is your firewall a next-gen model with active threat intelligence subscriptions?
The keyword is active. You have to pay for the updates.
2, is geo-blocking active for regions where you have no business?
An easy win. Reduce the noise.
3, are the zombies dead? Are TLS 1.0, 1.1, and SMB v1 disabled network-wide?
Don't assume. You have to verify this.
4, is MFA required for every single entry point? No exceptions.
Not for senior partners, not for anyone.
And finally, when was the firewall's rule base last reviewed to remove old permissions?
Digital housekeeping. Clean out the ghosts.
It's a powerful list, and none of it is science fiction. It's just rigorous digital hygiene.
That's the takeaway. Security isn't a product you buy. It's a process you do.
As we wrap up, I keep thinking about that closing metaphor from the text. Don't wait for a breach to realize your gate was left unlatched. It's a painful way to learn that lesson. And in this industry, reputation is everything. A breach bankrupts your reputation long before it touches your bank account.
That is the absolute truth. Now, before we go, I want to leave you with a thought on that reasonable efforts standard. We talked about ZTNA versus the old VPN.
Yeah.
If the industry standard is shifting to zero trust because it is just objectively safer, at what point does sticking with a traditional VPN become an ethical violation? If better exists, is good enough still reasonable?
That is a legal debate I think we are going to see play out in courtrooms very, very soon.
Something to think about. That's it for this deep dive. Check your firewalls, folks.
Stay safe out there.